How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Grip Lock Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor, and we're snowed in. It's that time of year, where that's going to happen every once in a while. And apparently it might happen again next weekend.
Seriously?
Did you not look at that yet?
No.
Apple Weather is predicting 8 to 9 inches on Saturday. But Apple was predicting 30
That's
inches.
about
I got
enough
5.
to make. That's about enough to make me cry. Like I'm so sick of it. Like Virginia is not supposed to do this. Now, granted, yes, we were obviously being told it was going to be an apocalypse, and
it's not that bad.
it was enough. It was enough to probably, today the roads aren't great still at my house, but they'll probably be okay by tomorrow. Like another one, and what gets me this time around is it's not just the snow, it's the fact that we are about to have the coldest week I've
never seen a week this cold.
Seen in this town.
The hottest it's going to get is 33 over the next 10 days.
And it's going to be 0.
And it's literally, it's like going to be like 5 degrees. The lows are like 5, 8, 9, 10, 6, 6. But yeah, Saturday, 85% chance of snow here. And the worst part is like what's outside's not going anywhere.
Correct.
So even if we only get 5 inches, that's going to turn into 10.
Yes.
Good news is after that, so we have Saturday, Sunday, 22 is the high on Saturday. Sunday, the high is 30, but then it goes 35, 40, 38. So at least stuff will start melting the next week.
Yeah.
But,
comment down below inside content ideas.
Yeah, I was already thinking. I was like, is it?
I'm like, we might be live streaming. We might be. Who knows?
I haven't done it in the bag in a while, so I haven't seen it in the bag. We might turn our warehouse into a disc golf course.
There's no telling what we're gonna do. My gears have been spinning as well.
Maybe bring back the hour trick shot challenge or something.
Who knows?
So y'all got to see some wild content.
Yeah,
that's all we know.
You got like one more week of normal videos, and it might get weird.
Yeah, buckle up. Maybe y'all like weird.
Yeah, it might be ice fishing.
All right, well, we've got some fun stuff to cover. We have a lot of answers to the questions that we were asking last week in regards to players and where they're going. There's still some questions out there, and I think at this point, those players are probably also asking the same questions we're going to be asking of where the heck are they going?
Yeah.
We'll finally go through the fandom survey and all of that fun stuff, so it should be a good episode. But before we get into that, a quick word from our sponsors. We all want to feel sharp, strong, and ready to perform, whether that's in the gym during long work days, deep into training blocks, or just getting through a busy week with energy and focus. But one thing that quietly trips a lot of people up is hydration. And I don't just mean drinking more water, I mean getting the right electrolytes. Electrolyte imbalance is real, and when it shows up, it looks like headaches, cramps, fatigue, brain fog, and weakness. Exactly the things that make it harder to show up at your best. That's why I want to tell you about Element. Element is a zero-sugar electrolyte drink mix and sparkling electrolyte water designed from the ground up using research. Each stick pack delivers a meaningful dose of electrolytes with no sugar, no artificial colors, and none of the questionable ingredients you see in most sports drinks. It's built for anyone who wants to support their health through proper hydration, especially athletes, heavy sweaters, people who fast, or those following keto, low-carb, whole food, or paleo diets. One of the co-founders, Rob Wolf, is a former research biochemist, a 2-time New York Times best-selling author, and has spent over a decade working on the Navy SEAL Resiliency Committee. And the results speak for themselves. Element is trusted by Team USA weightlifting, Olympic athletes, and dozens of pro sport teams, Navy SEALs, Marines, FBI sniper teams, Stanford neuroscience, and top functional nutritionists. You'll also find it used by high-performing professionals, parents, sauna enthusiasts, and anyone who wants to feel better day to day. Around here, we call it staying salty. Right now, Element is offering a special deal for our listeners. Get a free 8-count sample pack of their most popular flavors with any purchase at drinklmnt.com/foundation. It's a great way to try it out or share with a friend. And their customer service is genuinely top tier. So if you don't feel the difference, they'll make it right. So again, check it out at drinklmnt.com/foundation and stay salty. Do you want even more Foundation content? Check out the Heiser Club. We offer sweet perks such as bonus videos, weekly bonus podcasts, ad-free podcasts, and a ton of behind-the-scenes content. Plus, certain members, those who join annually, you got 5 more days to do this, by the way, annually on the Elite or Hall of Fame tier, get an invite to our Heiser Club Championship, where it is a free event for you to come to our city, take on the entire Foundation crew and the Heiser Club for a shot at the orange jacket. If this sounds great to you, sign today at patreon.com/Foundation Disc Golf. No Con's couch today, because no Con. Obviously, Con's probably on the couch today.
Probably.
As we probably all will be throughout the day. But we don't have a fun fact, so we're going to get straight into the off-season rumors and news. So let's go to what's happened since we last talked to you, which was on the 20th. MVP picked up 2 players, Paul Cran signing their 1-year contract extension, and then as was predicted, Silas Schultz has signed a new 1-year contract with MVP, which I think is a very exciting thing.
Interesting, only 1 year.
Yes, that is interesting. And then Hannah Wynn also signed a 1-year contract extension with Discraft, but was promoted to the elite team. We just missed her. We for some reason kept getting stuck on Alexis Mandujano, and I think it's because I just saw a few comments saying that, and I just didn't even Hannah Wynn's better. So yeah, Hannah Wynn promoted to the elite team. So that's big for her and for Discraft. Then also joining MVP, Aaron Gossage. He was announced the day after. And then we also had Luke Taylor also being promoted to Discraft's elite team. January 22nd, we saw Austin Turner being the final player promoted to Discraft's elite team. We saw MVP part ways with Joey Tamale, which is interesting. Joey Buckets, a.k.a. Joseph Anderson, signed a 2-year contract extension with Castaplast. And then Paige Shue stayed with Discraft for the 2026 season. Jay Milley, who left Trash Panda, is going to be working with Discmania this year. It seems more on a brand deal basis, but he announced it as a sponsorship. So he's kind of on Team Discmania, except for it's non-exclusive. So basically, if you're a Jay Milley fan like we are, just expect some Discmania content here and there. And then the most recent one that's on this list is like a new sponsorship is Zach Nash, a 1-year contract with Goliath Discs, which I'm assuming that is not going to be an exclusive contract because they don't have a full lineup.
I did notice too, Trash Panda, let me see here.
They picked up Lucas Carmichael and Bedanza.
And then they re-signed Maria Oliva. Yeah. I saw that.
Well, yeah, Lucas Carmichael is an interesting one for Trash Panda because he was with Discmania. He parted ways with Discmania.
He left them?
And he has only signed with Trash Panda so far. So I don't know if we're expecting... Which he's an up-and-comer. I don't think at this current moment it's a big move in regards to like someone who is really good on the Pro Tour making the move, but someone who has potential to be very solid, it is a pretty big deal.
What's interesting is like, yeah, I feel like because he's like a Colorado guy, and now that Discmania doesn't have the same roots in Colorado that it used to, it doesn't make as much sense maybe.
Yeah. No, he's been a Discmania guy for a long time. We played him when we were out in Colorado. But yeah, he signed with Trash Panda, so that's the only announcement I've seen with Lucas. I don't know if that's something where he's going to also sign with like a retailer or something. Or
I'm curious to know what like someone like him who like throws really hard, plays at a really high level. Like, what is he bagging from Trash Panda? Like, is he just throwing inner cores?
I mean, the Canyon's also great. Nice and disabled.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that.
The Canyon and then the inner or outer core, depending if you like a bead. Because I know Bedanza has been pushing the inner core hard. He really likes the inner core.
Yeah.
Because like the Dune, the Ozone. I mean, the Procyon for them is probably a flip up driver, but the Dune and the Ozone is obviously way too flippy.
Right.
I would say for them to use in my mind at least. But yeah, the Canyon's overstable enough, and then the inner core. I mean, if you're showing approach shots, I think that could work. And who knows? Maybe that's some more stuff coming. Also, we saw from AGL. They're signing a lot of Team Innova players to also be on Team AGL. So far we have Bradley Williams, Emily Weatherman, and Sophia Donicke.
That's basically Donica. It's basically the Millennium model, right? It's like, and it used to be not only Millennium, but there was even people on Team Heiserbaum. I mean, remember Big Germ throwing the Panzer and the Flak back in the day? That's kind of fun how they do those joint signings like that. I'm curious to see what kind of Innova made like AGL situation, what comes out of there.
Well, you know what? I was looking because I went to AGL's page to make sure I didn't miss any sponsors. And on their page, they have their pinned post, which is, it's 5 days ago. Because I think I don't know if they did this with Gateway, who they were with before, but I'm pretty sure they did. Recycled plastic, standard in every disc. So I'm wondering, are they only using EcoStar, or I don't know. Now, obviously, this is different from Trash Panda because Trash Panda's discs are fully recycled and fully recyclable. AGL discs, it just says every AGL disc uses recycled plastic, so just recycled plastic standard in every disc. So it doesn't claim, at least not in this post, that it's like 100% recycled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it's just EcoStar. We'd have to get our hands on some to really know. Because the picture the picture of the disc just looks like EcoStar, the one they used here.
Yeah.
And like all of these, I mean, these could all very very easily be EcoStar. So
Impossible to know.
it's tough to know unless we get our hands on them. But yeah, we have Emily Weatherman, Bradley Williams, and Sophia Donica. What is interesting to me is like we've seen this with Millennium, we've seen this with Heiserbomb, as you mentioned, and we saw Discmania back in the day was the only one that like people weren't on both teams. You would have players throwing some Discmania, like Paul was throwing P2s and FD3s, but even towards the end of Paul's tenure with Innova, I believe that had ended. I think he was having to like kind of pick and choose, if I remember correctly.
It definitely wasn't.
They was never like Discmania is the only one, in my recollection, where you didn't have Eagle McMahon on Team Innova and Discmania, or Paul on both.
Yeah, I think it's like the difference is like Millennium and like AGL. Like I think that they kind of know that their identity is a little bit of an Innova prop-up brand. Like that's kind of a lot of their identity there, whereas Discmania was able to establish their own path and didn't really need that. So I guess that's really the difference. Also, it kind of started as a European faction almost of Innova, so it was almost like it was, a part of Innova, but a European mirror of it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, definitely never saw that. That's for sure.
Is that like if you're a brand and Innova allows their team members to throw your brand, do you take like kind of as an insult of like, oh, they think we're not, big dogs?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you're AGL and you're like this is great. I mean, whenever Brinster won USDDC back in the day, like that had to be huge for. I mean, I'm only assuming it had to be huge for Millennium because me, who nerded out over people's bags, like I wanted so much Millennium because he was like, this is my QJLS, my Q Sentinels, and my Q Megas, and I was like, what are those, and can I get those?
Yeah.
So like I think that there is a bonus to that, like just trying to like. Just get a mold. Like it could be a game changer for any of those smaller companies. Just have one mold gain mainstream popularity. I mean, we already see a lot of companies that basically thrive off of like singular molds. So yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be huge. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely thinking in the top. If you're thinking like, kind of backpacking. But
yeah,
gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, speaking of small companies trying to get their foothold, I saw on Reddit. So this is. Take it for what it's worth. Maybe it's not true, but I saw a picture on Reddit of Corey Ellis in a Team RPM shirt. And allegedly he's been throwing some RPM molds, so people are assuming he's going to be picked up by Team RPM. It would probably be an open bag sponsorship because I don't think RPM, if I remember correctly, I don't think they make people throw their full bag, similar to like Pro Discus when Kevin Jones was with them, or even like Trash Panda we were just talking about. I think it'd be that type of situation where Corey Ellis can be open bag, but Corey Ellis, Team RPM, he'd be the first Disc Golf Pro Tour player, in my knowledge, to be throwing their discs. RPM is based out of, correct me if I'm wrong, New Zealand, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know much about RPM. Everybody that I've talked about RPM with, like, they love it. And I've, like, some of their discs, I felt some of their discs, I'm like, oh, this is a little odd, but then some of them feel pretty good. And they have really interesting molds. So that would be fun. Like, that's so funny. Like, I feel like, disc golfers sometimes have to they really have to turn over every rock to like find the space in the market.
That's what I was gonna say.
And like the RPM play, nobody's making that play. That might be genius.
Well, what's interesting to me is like Corey Ellis is a major champion.
Yeah,
a pretty recent major champion.
He's a good disc golfer. Yeah,
and like, so is this a situation where, because there's kind of two things that happen in disc golf. Either a player's valuation of themselves is too high.
Yeah.
To where they go to companies and they say, I demand $50,000 a year guaranteed. And the major companies are like, no shot. Or they just can't land a contract.
Well,
and what's weird to me about this is like, I don't see Corey Ellis as the I demand X a year type situation. Maybe it's true. But if that is the case, surely he didn't find it at RPM.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more like sometimes players are just the first ones to kind of jump the ship, and this was more so back in the day when people were like the first to jump to retailer contracts, like your Drew Gibsons, and like they were like, oh, there's money here and nobody's going this way. I think that there's two scenarios here. No, there's a few. There's definitely the idea that he couldn't get a contract somewhere else and had to kind of just explore his options. There's also a possibility that he goes to these other mainstream companies, they give him offers he doesn't like, and then even though the RPM offer isn't much better or isn't even better at all, you're not going to go crawling back to those companies that you turned down. So you're like, you know what, hey, let's try something new. Or maybe with RPM, their pitch is so much more based in, listen, we're not huge, so if you grow us, you're going to get a big part of that revenue. Like maybe that's more of their play.
Who knows? Speaking of Drew Gibson, that made me think of this because Drew Gibson was kind of the pioneer, if you want to call it, of the open bag model, right? He was one of the first players to kind of be like, hey, while he was still very good at disc golf, say, hey, I'm going to sign a deal with a retailer and EV7 and kind of start my own thing. Like I'm going to go where I'm going to throw a mixed bag and try to land several different contracts. Whether or not that worked out is kind of up in the air, in my opinion, mainly because Drew Gibson doesn't play disc golf at a high level anymore.
No.
Like, I don't think he toured at all last year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He just kind of fizzled out, but that wasn't necessarily because he was playing bad. He kind of just seemed to give up on it.
That's what I'm saying. Is so like he went kind of into the content realm, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I'm not sure, but so I don't know whether it like because Eric Oakley also followed him, and we saw a similar career path.
Double
where
G.
It's like, well, Double G went back to Innova.
But for a little bit there, he was just with Infinite, right?
Well, I don't think he was ever just with Infinite.
Was it just a partial thing?
I think he was. I think he had the Pharaoh or Emperor, whatever the frick.
Oh, okay.
Discmania mold that went over there. I think he just had a signature one with them.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. But
I thought he had a van that said Infinite, but I might be. Who knows?
He was on Team Infinite for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a Millennium Infinite or Millennium Innova type situation.
Yeah, it might have been.
But regardless, listen to this podcast clip from Drew Gibson that I saw pop up from.
Please.
This is from Pulsia, and let me know what you think.
It's just a matter of, and that's the benefit of being open bag is I can go chase those other avenues. You know, like the reason I can be sponsored by Infinite Disc and EV7, which are two disc manufacturers, is because I'm open bag. You know, so I could have two manufacturers paying my mortgage, paying for my RV, paying for my cars, paying for whatever, and they're both happy with it and getting the benefit, you know. So it's definitely the situation I've made for myself makes it easy for me to have a house and cars and stuff like that because, you know, every month there's people happily paying me their marketing, you know, structure. They're, you know, we can pay $5,000 a month. It's like, okay, well, should we sponsor 5 people for $1,000 or one person for $5,000? You know, so, and then it's about building your YouTube and your fan base and your following so people get value out of, you know, sponsoring you and you posting them.
Man, $5,000 a month, that's a tough price in today's market. Yeah, I mean, that's
it was
like
posted as a double your income with this strategy.
That's like one of those finance guys that gets on the podcast is like, guys, just have 10 rental homes. You're going to be rich. It's like, yeah, if you can convince multiple sponsors to not have exclusivity with you, yeah, that's great. But, like, you know, I believe that there was a time in the disc golf market, and I think he timed it correctly, where a guy like Drew, who had influence, and let's picture the environment, right? You got all these manufacturers, a bunch of new ones too, and they're all cash rich. And they're just looking to throw money out. So while one company is going to value an entire one singular player contract a certain way, if you go to all these new and niche and cash-rich disc golf companies at the right time and hit them for 1,000 here, 1,000 here, 1,000 here, 1,000 here, like I do think that was the play or a really smart play during that time. The market now, it actually it might still be, it might have gone all the way back to that being a good play now, but now it's a different thing where now you're doing that to just survive. Like now I might need to go get $500 from the grip bag company and another $200 from a disc retriever company. Like it's more like how it used to be in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a bunch of manufacturers out there looking for partial sponsorships like that right now.
Well, I think what's interesting is Drew capitalized on it on a model that still exists in disc golf, but it doesn't exist for players, in my opinion. Because the best example we just saw is that I think kind of mends it the best of people's heads is this is something we do on a regular basis. Right? Is we just had a live stream sponsored by Hooligan Discs, right? We love working with Hooligan. We love working with Garrett. They make awesome discs. But they came, sponsored a live stream, sponsored a video, sponsored some podcasts, right? But we don't announce it as we're on Team Hooligan, which is why I think that what I'm about to say makes more sense to people is like Jay Milley just signed a deal that's very similar to what we did with Hooligan. But he announced it as Team Discmania, right? And that is kind of what we've seen players do in the past, where people might read Jay Milley's post and get confused because they're like, he's non-exclusive. Why is he on their team? And it's like, well, essentially, I don't know the contract structure of Jay Milley. I'm assuming based on what I know by us. But essentially what I would imagine is happening is he has some type of guaranteed monthly stipend or guaranteed X amount for a year. And in exchange for that, they're expecting X, Y, or Z integrations in videos, social posts, stuff like that, where he's basically exchanging the attention for the monetary side, right? I think that before, Drew Gibson pioneered this model with players because there wasn't that much in disc golf media. I mean, back then we've done like sponsored videos with Legacy, with Gateway, with Prodigy, Discmania, stuff like that. But like they still viewed it completely different. I think nowadays it's starting to be viewed very similarly, but Drew Gibson was one of the ones that kind of accomplished that of like, hey, I have influence from being a Pro Tour player. I have a content structure. Instead of just going to one manufacturer and saying, what am I worth to you? I can go and, mix in, hey, I'm going to make some posts about you on social and do X, Y, and Z, help build your brand. And they're going to give me X amount of months to do this, X amount of months to do this. And I just have to have a certain amount of posts. And if you have enough posts going out, then not every post is a sales post, to where that makes sense. But I think that market is still there. I don't know if it's there for players as much. I do think it's there for the Jay Millies of the world, the Bedanzas of the world, us of the world. So if you're like an influencer, I think it is very much there. And the players who are both, that lean a little bit more influencers, like Simon Lizotte, he couldn't go sign enough deals to make him $1 million a year, like what he got with MVP. But he is a player where this model, if he was making a lot less from a manufacturer, this model could make a lot of sense for him, because you would have people be like, hey, Simon, I'll sponsor a video for X amount of thousands of dollars. And he does like 2 or 3 of those a month throughout the whole year. And next thing you know, he made more money than he would have if he was trying to find a new deal today, probably.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that the players aren't going to be able to get this too is like right now, the manufacturers are coming out of a time where they just paid a lot of, we'll say, middle grade players, I think, a lot of money, and they kind of realized, maybe that didn't convert as well as we thought it would, or maybe that wasn't the best use of our marketing, resources essentially. And so they kind of hold the bargaining chips. They've always held the bargaining chips to an extent, but they, I think, are realizing it once again, where it's like if a player comes and asks for a partial deal, they're like, no. Like we want people that are all in for our company. Like we don't have to pay you. And it's kind of an uneasy time in disc golf, because it's how it used to be too, where like for players, it was like, aren't you so lucky to be sponsored by us? Like that is kind of the financial relationship. And for a lot of companies, like that's how they're going to view these things, because unfortunately there's not a ton of players that can drive their value.
Well, I think a big part too is the way disc golf is covered currently. The majority of the eyeballs on disc golf are on Jomez, right? That probably isn't going to change ever. The majority of eyeballs being on Jomez, which means you got to be on a lead card. So 4 guys matter a day. 4 girls matter a day. Now, DGN, as it grows, there is a better chance of you getting shown if you're just in the top 15, top 20, whatever. But if you're a guy who's out there churning out top 20s, you're a fantastic disc golfer that nobody sees. That's the really tough part, is unless you have the social media side, because what I think companies are starting to realize, and what Drew Gibson's hinting at there, and he was doing well, and now I'm talking with Jay Milley, like his contract here, what they're realizing is Discmania just signed with Jay Milley. What they know is if I pay Jay Milley X, he will produce Y, which is if I pay him whatever amount of money, his video he's going to make on social media will get, let's call it 100,000 views or 50,000 views on Instagram. His video on YouTube is going to get 35,000 views. That's basically a guaranteed, because this guy is filming and shooting a video that he's just in. It doesn't rely on his performance on the course. If he goes out, and we've literally built a brand on this, if we go out and suck at a course conquest, that video, we're still on coverage, right? To a certain, like, if your guy has a terrible stretch on the Pro Tour, he's on zero coverage.
Not to mention, we can turn to the camera and say, check out this MD3. Like,
correct. We also have
Gannon
control
Burr
over
can't do that.
Yeah.
You can throw it a lot better. He can win tournaments, but it's different.
Like a Gannon Burr make a lot of sense, because throughout the course of the year, probably 90% of coverage is going to have Gannon Burr on it. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're signing a Gannon Burr, a Anthony Barella, a Paul Macbeth, a Ricky Wysocki, an Isaac Robinson, a Paige Pierce, a Missy Gannon, Holland, like those players, you have a certain guarantee essentially of like they're going to at least be on feature cards. Even if they have a bad year, like they're already locked into feature cards because people want to watch them. If you're signing a Corey Ellis that we're talking about signing with RPM, you're not guaranteed publicity other than his social media. So at that point, all you're signing him as is a social media influencer, and now he's competing with Jay Milley on Jay Milley's turf.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what's getting to be interesting, is because of how disc golf works with coverage and how most eyeballs are on the sport and how most manufacturers are marketing their players, it's all dependent on how many eyeballs you get on you on coverage. And if you're not one of the top 4 guys on coverage, you can't guarantee those eyeballs. And so therefore it matters, okay, what do you do on social media? And now you're in the same playing field as Bedanza, as Broderick, as Jay Milley, as these guys who it's like, hey, we're not even doing Pro Tour stuff. We're not even playing practice rounds. We're just making content. And now, it's a very interesting landscape.
Well, I feel like a lot of the players too were just a little bit late to the party, because like guys that had big Instagram and YouTube followings back years ago, like they're still fine, but like guys that have tried to break into the market have realized that like full-time content creators have taken it over that market, and it's hard to beat them out because they can just churn it out. Like these guys are trying to tour.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what. If you look like the players who are synonymous right now with good social media content, the Ezra Aderhold, the Simon Lizotte, even Brody Smith, which obviously doesn't make content as often, but it's like when Brody got into the sport in 2020, some players started, like Ezra Aderhold was, I believe he was already making content, but him and Brody started doing practice rounds and stuff together a lot. And I think that there was a number of players that realized it then. Yeah. And a lot of those guys are the ones that are okay now. Because like Ezra Aderhold is going to be fine because his value isn't on the course. Same thing with Simon. Even Aaron Gossage has a lot of value to a manufacturer that's not on the course. And if you didn't realize that and you just are trying to start that now, it's an uphill battle because it takes a few years to build it. Yeah. So it's like you now have 3 years to figure out how to make ends meet before you've built it. Because let's read through some of these guys that probably still have a question mark up in the air. Kevin Jones, I think that's a big one. We're at January 26th and we haven't seen announcements. I think a lot of the players I'm about to read are scrounging right now, to be honest with you. I would imagine that if they were on a team, like we've already seen the Prodigy's core team announced, we've already seen Innova's team announced, we've already seen MVP, and we've already seen Discraft. So there might be like Dynamic Disc. We've already seen like players on Dynamic and Latitude and stuff, and Discmania, but they haven't fully like done a big team announcement reveal type thing. So there might be some room on some of those teams. But Kevin Jones, Evan Smith, Corey Ellis, we talked about probably RPM, Nate Queen, Emerson Keith, Joel Freeman, Gavin Rathbun, Cadence Bird. She's been posting with Discmania, so I think it's safe to say, even though it's claiming free agent, I think it's safe to say she's staying with Discmania. Rebecca Cox, Haley King, Sarah Hokum, Alden Harris.
He just signed.
Castro.
Alden just signed 2 years.
He just signed. Sweet. Okay, so Alden Harris with Discmania. I was going to say, he was dropping discs at Disc East with Gannon, so I think that's a pretty obvious one. Nico, Joey Tamale. And there's some other smaller names on here too, but a lot of players that are still free agents right now.
Those are recognizable names for sure.
So it's going to be very interesting to just kind of see, like, I would imagine a lot of those players they're just staying with who they're with. But it is a question of just like, what if they're not, like the Kevin Jones situation, where are they going? And will we just see
Right.
like Zach Nash sign with Goliath, Corey Ellis, we're assuming he's signing with RPM? Like that might be really your only spot is just like
Well, yeah, I mean,
try to get some stuff with them.
a lot of these players are also thinking through the decision right now of, okay, touring might look different. Like touring might look like, can I just literally survive out there? Do I want to do that? Or should I maybe do a partial tour? Like that's the decision that a lot of these players are having to make right now.
And that was it's funny to hear like if you got into disc golf during COVID, which I know most people did, most people listening, this is a brand new landscape. This is crazy. This feels like the end of the world for disc golf. This is wild. This is pretty good for how disc golf was when pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Because you know what the big difference is like there's more than 2 or 3 guys getting guaranteed money.
Right.
Like back then, the decisions that a lot of these players are facing, they've been through before if they've been on tour in 2016, 17, 18.
Yeah.
Because that was basically like you got performance bonuses, you got your tour series disc, and if you got money, if a disc with your name on it sold, sometimes if you're lucky, you got your travel covered, but a lot of times that didn't happen. And then you got coverage bonuses. So it's like, hey, go win a bunch of A tiers, try to get on Joe Miz some, and you'll be all right. And that was the world pre-COVID. And you had your top guys making decent money. I actually heard someone describe disc golf to me this way. And at first I was like, that's a wild statement. And then it made a lot of sense. Which he said that the best way to describe disc golf is like a third world country where you have a very small percentage of people that are doing very well, that are rich from like they're doing great, they're living comfortable or whatever. Then you have a small middle class where like they're making ends meet, they're getting by, they have what they need, but they don't have much excess, and then everyone else is just scrounging to stay alive essentially. And I was like, that as brutal as it sounds, it kind of makes sense.
I mean, yeah, if you broke it down, you basically have your upper echelon, like high earners in disc golf. You're talking about realistically no more than 5 or 6. I mean, you could say Paul, Simon, Gannon, Calvin,
AB.
Isaac, AB. Yeah, certainly no more than 10. And then I think you might have another 10 to 15 comfortable players, and then it starts to drop a little bit.
Yeah,
like it
If
definitely.
you go MPO and FPO, there's probably 150 touring pros.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, once you get outside of like the top 40, especially, it's you've got to be scrounging. I mean, there might be a couple outliers that maybe if you've got like a Germ or a Sexton, if you're counting them, but yeah. I mean, sheesh. Crazy.
It is something, but all right, it's time for the fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia, right after these messages.
All right, gonna really test your knowledge today. First of all, if I change tabs like this, can you still see me? Okay. All right, so what I've got in front of me that you can't see what I've got up, right?
No.
Okay, good. What I've got in front of me.
Nail it 100%.
Yeah. Is I have a list from last year's tour of the hardest holes played. And we're ranking these on average relation to par. So, there is 23 holes out of every hole played. There's 23 of them that ranked a half stroke or worse above par. There's only one hole that was over a stroke over par worse. Your goal is to try and guess 3 of them.
Is it majors too?
Yes, this is standard Elite Series and majors for all players, MPO. So average to par. I think if you could guess 3 of these, I'd be impressed. I mean, you should be able to get a couple, I think, but yeah, that's the goal.
Boy,
it's not an easy one.
What's funny is hole 12 at Northwood, I think ended up playing easier last year than it was expected to. But I'll still say it. Hole 12, Northwood Black.
That was the second hardest.
Okay.
Average .96 strokes over par. they also have a fun stat. It's like their average distance of a throw that gets you into circle and regulation, and it was like 339 feet on this hole, even for a par 5.
Is this MPO and FPO or just
No,
MPO?
just MPO.
The hole 18 open at Austin, probably not on the list. FPO probably top of the list. The hole that retired Kristen.
It is. Trickle down.
Is there like, do I only have X amount of guesses?
I'll give you one miss.
Okay, so I'm definitely not.
But we're only trying to get 3 out of 23 of them, so.
Okay, New London has to have one on there. Ivy wouldn't surprise me if it had one on there. Let's see, New London, because they played New London for the Tour Championship.
Do you want to? I should check and see if the Tour Championship is included. Well, that was the only thing that either of those courses were played at last year.
Let's see. Hardest hole at New London would probably be hole. What is it? Is it 11? 11 sucks to us, but does it suck to them? I feel like it's probably easy to par hole 11. 12's fine. 13 could be pretty brutal. Oh, you know what it definitely is? Is probably 12, 13, 16. Is it 15? Because I'm going to go 16, 17, 18. Yeah, I think probably hole 15, New London.
Hole 15 average 0.05 strokes over par.
Was that on the list or no?
No.
Oh.
That is not hard. One thing you gotta remember is the field that was at the Tour Championship.
Yeah, it's just
was a lot smaller.
It's a very long par 3.
Well, I'm saying that means that holes would be very unpredictable for that tournament because you only had a handful of people playing them. So it could be flawed either direction. Just note that.
Okay, so we're just gonna avoid that. USDGC could sneaky be on this list, but I mean any hole at USDGC could be on this list. So how the heck do I guess that? It has to be, what's the threshold to get over par?
A half stroke or worse. There's 23 of them. I'm just trying to look through here and see. I mean, there are certainly. I'll give you some hints. There is.
I'll go hole 11 USDGC.
Just firing away. Hole 11 at USDGC. There was not a single hole that averaged the half stroke over par at USDGC the entirety of the tournament. You got to remember, Hunter, half stroke over par, like there's only 23 of these for the entire year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of
It's incredibly
what
rare.
courses are like very hard, and I've went through 3 of them.
Well,
3 hardest that players would say.
I'll tell you,
People would say Northwood, New London, Winthrop Gold are the hardest to score.
I mean, I'm surprised that USDGC their hardest hole on here. It was actually. Yeah, their hardest hole was hole 18 in the A position, averaged the most.
Fascinating.
Then you have hole 9, then hole 5 in the B position.
Random.
Well, no, I mean you lost, so I'll just fill you in. The top hole you were actually right on. It was open at Austin, hole 18. 1.18 strokes over par. And then obviously Northwood. The reason I only had you guessing 3 is I knew it was very tough. The other one that you maybe could have had a chance at, actually you probably did have a chance at, was Ivy hole 16 was very high up on the list.
I couldn't remember Ivy.
The uphill par 5. Other ones that were on here.
See, all I remember from Ivy, that hole, is that Calvin eagled it. And so it's just like, how's it that hard?
Waco hole 18 was on here.
Really?
I think that's just people getting aggressive, probably. Yeah. MVP had a couple. Cascade, Supreme Flight, they had a couple.
Yeah, no, I thought through MVP. Cascade I would never thought of.
Cascade, funny enough, which I know you wouldn't have thought of, I think they had like 4 of them on this list, including the third hard. Yeah.
Oh, it's probably because
they had that 1100
the field
for
is so weak.
The field was weaker at that tournament.
Because you just a lot of guys don't go.
Yeah, it's a very interesting list.
It's weird because perception-wise, I think like people probably wouldn't have said Like, if you asked pros, they probably could have guessed which ones played the hardest, but I don't think they would have listed hole 18 at USDGC as, like, the hardest hole in that course.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just went to is this real life? I just
Hole 18 open at Austin. I should have sent it, but
no, I just went to the FPO list, and that hole for the FPO averaged 3.18 over par. The next hardest hole was 1.36.
I knew it was up there for FPO, but how bad it was for FPO
Oh my
overshadowed
gosh.
it for MPO, because I just didn't even remember. I can't even remember someone blowing up in MPO.
Oh my
All I can
gosh.
picture is just Kristen's forehands.
Dude, that is hilarious. Yeah.
I sucked at that.
Well, it was a hard game. I didn't, like I said, I knew you could probably land on like maybe 2 and then maybe get lucky and guess a third. But that was a hard game.
Yeah, I'm surprised that New London didn't have any.
Yeah, like I said, I think that just comes down to it being skewed.
I think it's just fun. It's probably just hard courses that are hard all throughout don't have a hole that's like, this is the blow up hole. Versus like MVP, I assumed was going to have one, but I couldn't think through like which one would actually play tough.
Had like,
so
I think 9 was on there for MVP.
But I'd bet New London just has a bunch of holes that are just like, I'd bet majority of their holes just average close to par or like a little bit over.
Right.
And it's like when the whole course looks like that, then it's a much more grueling mind. Like I bet USDGC is similar. Like I bet most of USDGC's holes are close to par.
Yeah, I mean USDGC has quite a few that average like a little bit above par, but yeah, I mean they're
because I feel like it's probably just like you have your top guys score well out there, but so many guys just struggle the whole round. But it's like there's not just like open at Austin 18, like Kristen would be a few under going into that hole and then end up over par, and it's like she didn't really struggle the rest of the course. It was just 18.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's true. It's true.
All right, before we get back into topics, I want to tell you one more thing. Some of you might not know that we don't just do podcasts and videos. We also have a website where you can shop for all of your disc golf needs, from stock discs to special drops, apparel, and more. FoundationDiscs.com is the way to go. Plus, if you live in the U.S. and you buy a disc that you just don't like for whatever reason, you have 30 days to use it, abuse it, let your dog chew on it, run over it with your car. Who cares? And we'll pay to exchange it. We'll pay the shipping both ways and give you the credit to exchange it for a disc that you know you love. So, for instance, our new Cornerstone, we just dropped that this past Friday. We have a restock coming within the next week or two. It depends a lot on how shipping happens. It's being shipped to us now, but we don't know when we're going to get them. If they come in, it'll be up on Friday. We have a restock of the first run Cornerstone. That's the perfect example of a disc where you're like, man, I really want to try that, but what if I just like my Valkyrie or Beast or Thunderbird or whatever more and I don't end up not wanting it? Great news. Buy it, take it out to a field, take it out to a course, put it in your bag for 30 days, 20 days, whatever it is. If you're like, yeah, I just ain't feeling it, fill out the form on our site. We'll send you a paid for shipping label, ship it back to us. We give you store credit, and then you can buy that Thunderbird you know you love, and no harm, no foul. So, FoundationDisc.com, shop risk-free.
Take care.
Fandom survey, how fans feel about media. This is part 2. 2 weeks ago, we talked about part 1, which was all coverage. So now this is basically non-coverage media, essentially. So first thing that's interesting, so you could choose multiple things on here, but, what platform do you consume other disc golf content on? So other being non-coverage. And 97% of people said YouTube.
Makes
perfect sense. 52% of you are on Instagram, 45% are on Facebook. This one was interesting. 41% of you, PDGA website was chosen.
Disc golf content.
I mean, reading articles on there is fair. And then 40.3% listen to podcasts. So that's literally you listening to a podcast right now. One thing that's interesting to me is Reddit only made up 28%. Which was interesting.
This almost starts to pull the curtain back on the demographic of this survey, because if the PDGA website is coming in at 43% and Reddit's coming in at 28%, I'm going to say that says something about the age of the demographic that took this survey and them being slightly older.
Maybe.
Because who in the world checks off the PDGA website as a place? I feel like we're just brushing over that.
TikTok's only 11%. But I don't
Correct.
think this is like if I'm choosing multiple things on here, I would have had to choose the Disc Golf Pro Tour's website and the PDGA's website because like if they post a new rules update, I read the article.
What was the question? How'd they phrase it?
What platforms do you consume other disc golf content on? And you select multiple answers. So these were already listed.
Yeah, it's just like I guess it's how you perceive, like, because yes, of course, a rules update is content, but it's not how I would perceive it.
Well, also if they announce the majors and it's a blog post.
Right. Yeah, I guess that is content. I guess I'm thinking more of like creative content. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is content.
Yeah, the Disc Golf Pro Tour website beats out Reddit too. Ultiworld articles comes in at 15%. I think it's because Ultiworld they don't write articles anymore. I've been very saddened by that.
They don't have writers on staff, so I think it's just like if Charlie wants to write something.
I mean, like this Josiah and Jesse, they write stuff. It's just they used to. I think it's basically Charlie doesn't write anymore. Is what it seems.
There
like.
used to be always event previews and wrap ups, and then like maybe one or two in between. But
Disc Golf Fanatic has become the guy that like.
I know.
If you need something, you cover.
Yeah,
it.
I used to look for like good prompts and stuff for debate night on there.
Yeah, there's nothing. TikTok only 11%, and then Twitter 9%. So
yeah, Disc Golf Twitter needs work.
But pretty much everyone, if you watch content, watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Which Disc Golf podcast have you listened to / watched multiple episodes of in the past year? So they could select as many as they wish. 56% of you said Grip Locked. 55.6 said Tour Life. Get Wrecked Tour Life.
That's actually huge.
0.4%.
That's huge.
Dominate.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's big.
After Grip Lock and Tour Life, it drops down. Now, I will also say, I didn't know what this was going to look like this year because we intentionally didn't push it this year. Because years past, we've pushed it hard to everyone. And then obviously reaped the benefits by us dominating the survey. And so we're like, let's this year just not say a word so that we can get like, okay, what do things actually look like? So we didn't say anything, but hey, you Foundation podcast listeners are strong. So Grip Lock 1, Tour Life 2. Then you drop down to 39% with the Upshot. I think they're one of the best like journalistic, true news podcasts in disc golf, I think. Charlie does a phenomenal job on that. Then 36%, All Birdies, No Bogeys, which is the Jomez podcast. Then you have Debate Night at 32.8%.
Big
shout
numbers.
out. And then In the Bag, 25%. So that rounds out the Foundation podcast network. Which this is, I'm wondering, this did come out right before MVP dropped Joey Tamale. And I'm wondering how much this had to do with it because you do have In the Bag at 25.7, which our director of operations, Brad Jones, that's his podcast. And then right after you have Crush Red Pepper, which is Joey Tamale, Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon. So I'm not saying that had any direct correlation, but the timing, this did come out and then Joey got dropped.
Are they
from MVP.
okay? But do they like actually consistently upload?
That's a great question.
Like,
Crush Red Pepper.
Can you even find them on?
Or is it just Crush Pepper? Crush Red Pepper podcast.
It's just I can't find it on. It's just Crushed Pepper.
Might just be Crushed Pepper. I've seen them on. Yeah, Crushed Pepper. Sorry, not Crushed. I added the red. Maybe
I like that. January 1st, they had
January 1st, December 23rd, November 30th, November 18th, November 4th, October 23rd, October 3rd. So it's like every other week, kind of.
It's like somewhat.
It seems, but pretty consistent. Yeah. But yeah, so Crushed Red Pepper 25%, Smashbox 24%. Smashbox is the reason there's any other disc golf podcast. Let's just be honest here. Smashbox is the reason we exist.
What are Crushed Pepper? Oh, Joe, like Crush Boys and then Tamale. That took me a second.
Staggered Stance, Nick and Matt Show 24%, and that rounds out the ones that are 20% or higher. Then you have Andrew Fish's at 12, and so it goes down.
Shout out.
But yeah. Now, what is your favorite disc golf podcast? We have the Upshot winning at 21.4%. Grip Lock came in second at 20%, and then Tour Life at 15%. This is one you could only choose one here. But we beat out Tour Life, Get Wrecked Again Tour Life, by 5% there.
This is going to be huge when we hand out the Grippies next year.
Yeah, we have stats.
We got ammunition.
Yeah, we got stats to back this up. But Upshot, 21%, then Grip Lock, then Tour Life, then Crush Pepper at 7%. All Birdies, No Bogeys also at 7%. And then goes on from there. Now on YouTube, what one account would you consider your favorite? So this is your favorite YouTube channel. As Pro, 32%. Makes perfect sense. Simon got 15.5%, and then Foundation, we came in at 12%. So shout out to y'all again. And then Ezra Aderholds at 3%, Alden at 3%, Disc Golf World at 3%, DGN at 2%, GoThrow at 2%. I am surprised, like, because obviously they put coverage on here, right? Jomez, GoThrow, MDG, DGN. I am surprised GoThrow only took up 2%.
Yeah.
I don't know what that exactly speaks to, because like Jomez at 32%, I'm surprised it's not higher, but like that makes perfect sense. Like them dominating makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Simon being way up there makes perfect sense. Us being up there makes sense to me at least. But then I would have thought GoThrow would have been up there.
You'd think. I mean, that's basically their whole model. It's like YouTube disc golf. So.
Yeah, maybe it's just like maybe the people who maybe you had two demographics. One, people were like taking this as the non-coverage, and so Jomez still takes in a little bit with practice rounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess GoThrow has the skins.
Right.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like if you were going to choose GoThrow, then you probably chose Jomez.
I think that's probably more of it.
Yeah. But yeah. What else is on here? Instagram. What account is your favorite to follow? DGN/Disc Golf Pro Tour, 8.3%. Jomez Pro at 5.9%. Another round at 5.7%. And then Simon at 5%. That's all the people who come at 5%.
You know, all those people voting for Disc Golf Network must not be the people that complain about the spoilers.
Good point. Yeah, I do find that interesting too. I mean, I guess it's just like you like watching highlights on. I do on Instagram. Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a necessary account to follow if you're trying to keep up with the tour.
Now this is. What am I looking at here?
You're looking at.
Now it says, what do you think of the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA? We asked respondents, what do you think on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being dislike. But what can I... Oh, okay, I can compare it to previous years. So, okay. So this is
like approval ratings.
Separate from media. I think we're all media now.
Governing bodies.
So governing bodies, Pro Tour, PDGA. So basically 10 being you love them or you like them. 0 being dislike.
Oh, this would be interesting.
27% of people give the Pro Tour an 8. 21% give the PDGA an 8. What's interesting is basically the graph flips in the Pro Tour's favor from 8 up, so 8, 9, 10. You have 20% of people giving the Pro Tour a 10, 18% giving them a 9, 27% giving them an 8, versus 13.9% giving the PDGA a 10, 11% giving them a 9, 21% giving them an 8. But at the bottom here, you have 13% give the PDGA a 5, 4% give them a 4, 3% give them a 3, 2% give them a 2, versus the Pro Tour rides
still pretty decent
at the bottom and then jumps up. Now let me see, how are people... Let's just look at 2022 PDGA.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad for the PDGA.
So PDGA has become much more favorable.
Really?
Since 2022. Much more favorable.
Interesting.
Because you had, in 2022, there was 22% gave a 7, 16 an 8, 4 a 9, 3 a 10. Now you have 14% give a 7, 21% give an 8, 11% give a 9, 13% give a 10. Back in 2022, most of it was 5, 6, 7. So let's actually look the trend of the Pro Tour from 2022 to 2025. Pretty much the same. The Pro Tour 2022, 2025. The only difference is 5% more give them a 10. Every other number is almost spot on the same. So the Pro Tour has stayed. People have liked them. The majority of people look at an 8. But the PDGA becomes much more favorable over the last few years.
Make that the headline of this episode.
People like the PDGA now more than ever.
PDGA has approval of the people.
MPO, people follow it slightly less now than they did in 2022. Let's see FPO numbers here. FPO numbers, people follow it. Honestly, it looks like slightly more, I would say. Probably close to the same. Probably close to the same. So slightly less MPO, slightly more. About 40% of people said that they follow professional disc golf the same compared to last year. 10 means they follow it more, I believe. Yes, versus, so 40% say they followed it the same. Below 40%, you have a total of, it looks like about 12% of people say they followed it less, and then about 30-some% say they followed it more in 2025 and 2024. So then what do you think contributed to this? I became more invested in players. 56% of people said I became more invested in players. 40% came more invested in season-long storyline. 30% more invested in local disc golf community. So I guess if you became more invested in your local disc golf community. No, it says it followed it more closely. Interesting. Okay, why did you follow disc golf less closely? 65% less free time. Makes sense. 21% less interested in storyline. 16% said, I don't really know why. 15% doesn't like the PDGA. Another 15% doesn't like the Pro Tour. 14% said too expensive. And yeah, that's about it. The next two articles that are going to be coming out are going to be about discs. So we'll see what discs people like, according to this survey.
That's good information.
But yeah, that'll be a fun one. Final thing to talk through today actually happened a few weeks ago. We just never covered it because there was so much going on, which is the Disc Golf Pro Tour added 4 new Euro Tour events in 2026. So the European competition now includes 8 total tournaments across 5 countries. Essentially, this is going to start. So Euro Tour events are not Silver Series. They're PDGA A-tier events. Euro Tour is separate from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I do believe you can still earn some points for the Pro Tour. But essentially, they're building out a European tour to help the players who aren't playing a full tour in the States. They can go, still have plenty of events, and the up-and-coming talent can have events over there. So this includes some Elite Series, some Majors, and then the rest are A-tiers. They added 4 A-tiers in. So it starts with the Parnu Open in Estonia, which I actually believe I read is going to be ran by Kristen and Silver, which is fun. So that's a Euro Tour event, meaning it's an A-tier.
I see, because she's going to be commentating, is this some of these Euro events?
I think she's commentating the Euro swing of Elite Series events.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
So then the major, the European Open, is the next weekend. Then we go into the Elite Series swing, which is the Swedish Open, the Ale Open, and the Heinola Open. So those are the back-to-back-to-back. Those are all Elite Series events. So that's the European stretch, is that month. Then they added 3 more A-tiers, 3 more Euro Tours post-Heinola Open, which is Sierra Vuori Challenge, the Moravian Open, and the Silesia Open. So that's in Finland, the Czech Republic, and Poland. Those are the 3 places they go to after. So they stay in Finland for another few weeks, and then, yeah.
The more European golf, the better. I mean, obviously the Pro Tour, like their play here is definitely make sure that they are a part of the European market share so that if the sport grows over there, they already have logistics in place and, like, the best place to tour. And I think they're doing a really good job. They're doing a really good job, like, subtly building out this thing, and they've, over the last season, like, made it make more sense to where it's not just train wrecking the U.S. Tour, and they're still growing the U.S. Tour and innovating the U.S. Tour. So I actually think they're doing a pretty good job with this. And I always like the European golf because we see courses that are insane.
Yeah. I don't know how much of the Euro Tour coverage-wise, because there are some...
It might not be on DGM, but somebody will cover it.
But yeah, there is coverage to be had out there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think that it's a fun thing. And yeah, it's basically 1 month in Europe for the U.S. players if you want to go play all the Elite Series events and stuff. And then if you're a non-U.S. player, it gives you plenty of opportunities to play over there on a bigger scale than just your typical A-tier, earn some Pro Tour points, and kind of see, should I consider a full tour?
Well, now that we're beyond schedule Armageddon of last year, I think it's actually set up to be just fine.
Yes. Yeah, now that we don't have 2 majors over there.
Yeah.
Back to back. So, no, I'm excited. There is the event that basically happens while FPO is, I think it's the week FPO is traveling back for USWDGC, or it's the week of USWDGC. There's one conflict in there.
They don't
that
count
one there's not giving out FPO points. So, MPO points will still be had, but that way they just don't want to conflict and make it be like, well, I could go play a major, but also I'm trying to qualify for the Tour Championship and everyone else is traveling, so I'm just going to stay here and play it. They don't want that to happen. They want USWDGC to have a full field, so they are giving that time, but there. So, that's going to wrap up this week's episode. I will say, in the bag, farthest flying disc last week, we were right. Trev. It was about I think I had said I thought it was
Did it
going to
work
be
out?
75 to 25 we were going to win. I was wrong there. It was 70 to 30. So I was 5%
That's good.
off.
That's
but
good. We have. I will say
We rode with it.
the integrity of the voters is high. And that's good to know because we probably have like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of this, and are we tied
We're
now
tied,
with them?
6 to
Oh
6.
heck yeah!
we
This is
clawed our way
exciting.
back. We're tied.
All right, I can't wait to see what
Got
happens.
it up like 2 snakes in a handbag.
If you've got any like game breaker category suggestions, throw them down below.
Yeah,
We have a
there's
couple.
chance that next week's a wash too.
Yeah.
Because if we actually get
Yeah,
the
if we
snow,
get
they're
the
calling,
snow
then
again.
we'll be right
Goodness
back down here.
gracious.
We'll be right back in these rooms.
Yeah. Hey, we'll keep it tied. It's right where we want them to be.
Do we want to do? Obviously, we don't have a silo selects,
Yeah.
but do we want to do a still guessing game for
Yes.
it? Okay, I think we both name a mold, and I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT just spit out a random disc golf mold.
It's a random disc golf
I
mold.
think it'll be more predictable because ChatGPT will probably. I mean, you can
Yeah,
probably
but we
predict
know-
all
we
the
know
things,
that.
But
Like, we know
obviously
that.
This isn't silo select, so we're not gonna give it the same weight.
I got an interesting strategy here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the envy because I think it's gonna. There's holy shot stuff everywhere.
For whatever
online.
reason, I'm thinking Mako 3.
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
gonna say we're playing a game, and I need you to give me name one random disc golf disc. See what it says.
If I get this one, I'm counting.
Random pull from the bag, leopard.
Wow, you're in the right.
And of a
That
leopard.
starter set. So there was
Ah,
a
sure,
there
the
was a way to
starter
get
set.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang. All right. Well, we didn't get it. Chat 1, us 0. So that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed. And we'll be back next week, hopefully in our studio. That'd be nice. But we'll see what happens.
January.
We'll talk to you next week either way.